Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right. So shouts out to everybody that comes into the stream. Make sure you guys punch that like button as soon as you guys get in. All right. Drop your boy a line, say what's up. Make sure that you share this video out to all your social media. And if you're new here, be sure to hit the bell icon twice, all right, so that you get notification every time I drop a video or do a live stream, all right? So there's some interesting updates, not only with COVID-19, but also with monkeypox, all right? What I'd advise everybody to do is binge watch all the content on this channel leading up to this, because what I find fascinating is that the monkeypox situation now has a completely different tone than what it had before. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at that tone, because things have changed in the way that it's being looked at. So first, let's get into this coronavirus update. We got an article here from the Independent. All right. COVID Omicron subvariants are evolving to target the lungs and overcome immunity as UK cases surge. All right. So apparently they have a surge going on. You know what I'm saying? They have a surge going on in the UK. They have a mutated version that's targeting the lungs, and it seems to be, apparently, according to this article, overcoming immunity. Shouts out to my man Bronze the God. What's going on with you, bro? He says, how you gonna send me some stuff and then go live? Bro, I got a schedule to keep. I got a schedule to keep. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, scientists fear the subvariants may be similar to the more deadly Alpha and Delta variants. And if you guys recall, those were the ones that the initial outbreak started with. So let's take a look at this video clip.
FDA advisors have voted in favor of authorizing Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine.
Shouts out to AB. What up with it, bro?
Up to 17.
And this comes as we're seeing a rise in COVID numbers locally. But Fox 26's Rashi Vats spoke with an expert about the direction we're headed and what's expected over the next several months.
When it comes to COVID, the summer outlook doesn't look too great. This is according to experts. Now, you're going to hear these two names a lot, BA.4 and BA.5. They are.
Now, here's my question. Have you guys heard of BA.4 and BA.5? And this is what I'm telling you guys. Just because you don't see it in the media up in everybody's face does not mean that C19 is not lingering and causing chaos in the background. It is still going down, ladies and gentlemen. It is still going down with the C19 virus. And it's going down actually in a crazy way.
Are two new COVID-19 subvariants in the latest Omicron lineage, and they could fuel ongoing transmission in the area, according to Houston Methodist Hospital.
These new variants that are starting to slowly increase is that
shouts out to my man Emmanuel Carey. What up with it, bro?
The ability to essentially reinfect people who have been previously exposed with BA1 or BA2. So people who may have had an Omicron infection.
So I want to make sure that you guys heard what that physician said. Did you guys hear what he said? These two variants seem like these are reinfection specific variants. Didn't think that they would ever have something like that, did you? That's crazy.
According to Houston Methodist Hospital.
These new variants that are starting to slowly increase is that they've shown to have the ability to essentially reinfect people who have been previously exposed with BA1 or BA2. So people who may have had an Omicron infection, say in March or April, the BA4 and BA5 have a different spike protein and are able to perhaps evade some of the immunity from prior infection with Omicron. We're sort of in just a very slow march upwards in cases already. And the thought is just that with BA4 and BA5 now coming into play, that they may help continue to drive cases forward into the months of July and August. It may just continue to drive cases in that way.
In Harris County, the percentage of people who test positive is now 18.6. That's more than double that we saw in mid-May.
So this is what I'm trying to tell you guys, man. I keep telling y'all, pay close attention to what's going on with COVID. They're not, just because they're not saying anything about it doesn't mean that it's not still going wild. Look at how the infection rate is skyrocketing. And this is an infection rate skyrocketing like this after a mass jab campaign. Look at that.
But to put all this in perspective, COVID hospitalizations are comparatively low. In Texas, the number has steadily risen to just Sunday being 1,543. So compare that to the peak of Omicron wave in January, where the state was seeing more than 13,000 COVID patients hospitalized a day. It's also very important to note that the COVID surge is really hard to accurately quantify since so many people take those at-home tests. So basically, doctors are saying we aren't out of the woods yet. In the studio, Rashi Vats, Fox 26 News.
Hold on real quick. Watch.
Save up to.
Oh, I knew that. I knew I wasn't going to be able to stop it before our ad started. So scientists fear the subvariants may be similar to the more deadly Alpha and Delta variants. All right. The latest subvariants of Omicron may have evolved to target the lung, prompting fears that the next wave of COVID could be starting. Now, here's my question. Do you guys think that the next wave of COVID is going to start? Could you imagine that? Like, man, how bad are Joe Biden's approval ratings going to be? On top of inflation, on top of the skyrocketing gas prices, on top of the national embarrassments that this idiot just continues to do every single time he opens his mouth or every single time he comes out of the White House. Now COVID's coming back strong. Hospital admissions for COVID patients in England have begun to grow again, new NHS data shows. The World Health Organization has been investigating 2 Omicron subvariants since April to assess whether they are more infectious or dangerous than their predecessor. Both BA4 and BA5 have been added to the agency's monitoring list. Last week, figures showed that COVID-19 infections in the UK increased by 43%. In the week after the Platinum Jubilee celebrations, with the 2 new subvariants believed to be behind the sudden increase. They increased 43%, you guys. Shout out to my man, Albie Black. Carlton Wade says, it's Trump's fault. That's hilarious. Speaking of Trump, I got an interesting article that I'm going to make a video about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Additionally, around 1.4 million people in the UK had coronavirus in the week ending June 11th, up from around 990,000 the week before. All right, so they're up. Look at that. They're up to 1.4 million from 990,000 the week before. According to preliminary data from Ki Sato at the University of Tokyo and colleagues, BA4, BA5, and BA2.12.1 may have evolved to refavor infection of lung cells rather than upper respiratory tract tissue, making them more similar to the earlier variants, such as Alpha and Delta. Now, did you guys know that the targeted infection site had changed? That's the difference between a lot of those variants. The first variants, the very first ones, were targeting the lungs directly, and I think that's why that one might have been more deadly. The other ones were only targeting the upper respiratory tract. Bron says, what's Joe Biden's worst enemy? His approval rating, inflation, or stairs and bikes? I got to say stairs and bikes. Brian says, nah, you know, it's Putin's fault. It's Putin and Trump's fault. They did it in a secret lab in the basement of Trump Towers. The propensity of earlier Omicron variants to prefer infecting non-lung tissue may be one reason why infections tend to be milder in most people. Altogether, our investigations suggest that the risk of these Omicron variants, particularly BA4 and BA5, to global health is potentially greater than that of original BA2, Sato said. Professor Sato's experiments indicate that BA4 and BA5 and BA2.12.1 replicate more efficiently. Look at this. They replicate more efficiently in human lung cells than BA2. While further experiments in hamsters suggest that BA4 and BA5 may cause more severe disease. It looks as though these things are switching back to the more dangerous form of infection, so going lower down in the lung, Dr. Stephen Griffin, a virologist at the University of Leeds, said. Total infections are now back at levels seen at the start of May, but remain well below the record 4.9 million peak of Omicron BA2 wave at the end of March. COVID hospital admissions are also below the levels recorded during the previous wave. Now, here's the thing that I find fascinating about this, right? They're at this level. Shout out to my man RG Titan. What up with it, bro? They're at this level, but the thing that's the craziest is that we already have all of this treatment for it. We got a lot of treatment for C19. We got a jab, we got medications, and yet and still, these numbers are still high, and they're still kind of in line with the original pattern. So I got to ask you guys a question. If you're looking at that, what conclusion would a logical person come to? Shout out to my man Mike Mellis John, Grand Friday and B1. Grand Friday and B1, bro. So now here it says ONS said the latest increase was likely caused by infections compatible with Omicron variants BA4 and BA5, which are now thought to be the most dominant variants in much of the UK. Professor Christina Pagel, the director of the Clinical Operational Research Unit at University College London, echoed this. While Jubilee celebrations would certainly not have helped, she said, the current wave precipitated by mainly BA4, BA5, and BA2121 becoming dominant and driving a new surge, likely due to greater ability to escape immunity from previous infections and vaccines. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? What's that mean? Looks like we got a rogue C19 virus that has specifically examined the jab and has done what it can to work its way around it. My man RG Titan says the corporate white media is still showing those old pictures of Africans with the monkeypox instead of showing white folks with it. Yeah, that's a fact, especially seeing how it's in Europe. So now here it says Dr. Murray Ramsey from the UK Health Security Agency said it is encouraging that we are not seeing an increase in intensive care unit admissions, but we are monitoring data closely and assessing the possible impact of subvariants BA4 and BA5. As we enter summer, it's still important to remember that COVID-19 has not gone away. Look at this. And to get vaccinated to reduce the risk of becoming seriously ill with the virus. So it doesn't make sense to me why they would put this sentence here literally right after this one. Greater ability to escape immunity from previous infections and vaccines. Get vaccinated to reduce the risk of becoming seriously ill with the virus. I don't understand that. Do you guys understand that? Does that make any sense to you guys? If that makes sense to you guys, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If it doesn't make any sense to you guys, give me a thumbs down. And real quick, shouts out everybody. We got 11 people in the building and we got 8 likes. If everybody can smash on that like button and get us to 19, that would be awesome. So now let's get into monkeypox. All right. Have you guys heard about the recent announcement when it comes to monkeypox? They're now taking it serious. What does that tell you? They're now taking it serious. I remember them specifically saying this is nothing to worry about. You guys remember that? If you guys remember that, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you don't remember that, give me a thumbs down. Now look what's going on. WHO meeting on monkeypox. Possible global health emergency. What? U.S. has more than 150 cases of the virus. Man, that escalated quickly. Yeah, that's a fact, Mike. Taking emergencies serious at the last minute as usual. New Jersey reported 1 case of monkeypox a couple days ago. That's wild. I'm not surprised. Look at this. The World Health Organization is meeting Thursday to discuss monkeypox outbreak and decide if it warrants being declared a global health emergency. Now, here's my question. How do you guys feel about it? If you guys feel like it should be a global health emergency, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you guys don't feel like it should be a global health emergency, give me a thumbs down. With thousands of cases reported in tens of countries around the world, the declaration would mean that the United Nations Health Agency considers the spread of the disease to be an extraordinary event with the risk of further transmission. Now, hold that thought. All right. I want you guys to hold that thought. Okay. WHO Director Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus called the outbreak unusual and concerning. All right. Now, I remember specifically our president saying that this shouldn't be taken as serious. AB says that they were talking about the monkeypox case in New Jersey on the local news this morning. In Africa, where monkeypox is endemic, in some countries, it has sickened people for decades, with one version of it killing up to 10% of the infected. So now we're talking about U.S. monkeypox. Where are the cases now? However, beyond Africa, no deaths have been reported, and scientists have yet to find any major genetic changes in the virus, which I find fascinating because we'll go into that a little bit later. We'll go into this a little bit later. In the U.S., according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, there are now more than 150 confirmed cases of monkeypox and orthovirus. Okay. 40 of those cases are in California, 22 are in New York, 19 are in Illinois, and 16 are in Florida. Although the majority of monkeypox cases have been seen in gay or bisexual men, experts caution that anyone is at potential risk. So they all lives mattered, the monkeypox. People normally become infected with the monkeypox virus through contact with the skin lesions or body fluids infected animals or humans through contact with materials contaminated with the virus. Monkeypox, which is related to smallpox, has milder symptoms. Some of these symptoms include fever, chills, rash, and aches before lesions develop. Okay. So that was pretty basic. That didn't really say too much. And what I find interesting is that this is an article that was on Fox News, and pay very close attention. The Associated Press contributed to this report. So as much as these news medias, as much as these mainstream medias try to act like they don't like each other, as you can see right there, they collaborate with each other. You guys can see that right there. So you guys saw that in that last article we read, it just said that there was no significant genetic changes, right? If you guys recall that article saying that there was no significant genetic changes, give me a thumbs up in the chat. What's this then? Extremely mutated monkeypox? I thought there was no significant changes.
We're seeing cases, as you say, among men who identify as gay, bisexual, or from other groups of men who have sex with men in several countries, often linked to travel, or recent travel. And it seems clear, as Rosamund was saying, that this is linked to close contact. So this could be through social contact, possibly through sexual contact, which of course is close contact. We're still in the early days of this outbreak, so there's a lot we're still learning. There's a lot of stigma and discrimination that surrounds many diseases, and I think the key thing we need to look out for is, as WHO to work with our partners in communities and elsewhere to make sure that the messaging is correct. So while, for example, we're seeing some cases amongst men who have sex with men, this is not a gay disease, as some people in social media have attempted to label it.
So my question is, well, what is it then?
It's just not the case. Anybody can contract monkeypox through close contact.
All right, so there's that. Okay, hold on. All right, extremely mutated monkeypox strain appears to have a single point of origin. Now, I got a question for you guys. Where do you guys think this single point of origin is going to turn out at? What up with it? We got Mimi McCoy in the building. What's going on with it, Mimi? So now here it says the heavily mutated monkeypox virus that is currently spreading globally. Now, remember, they said that there's no significant DNA changes. In that article that we just read, it said that there was no significant DNA changes. Now we're talking about a heavily mutated monkeypox virus. Mike says Europe is the point of origin. If you guys agree with Mike, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you disagree, give me a thumbs down. Carlton Way is dropping some ancient knowledge on us. He says close contacts means anal sex. I could have lived without that. Researchers from Portugal managed to isolate 15 samples of the virus, mostly from their home nation, in order to research its genetic makeup. Their findings, published in the journal Nature magazine, have provided insight into the current strain and is now calculating that in at least 44 non-endemic countries. According to CDC, as of Thursday, there are now over 3,500 confirmed cases of monkeypox. Like I said, it's spreading. You guys see that? It's spreading. In the latest study, researchers made several findings, including that the virus had far more. Look at this. In the latest study, researchers made several findings, including that the viruses had far more genetic mutations than they would have expected, with around 50 identified compared with the related virus from 2018 and 2019. We just read something that said that there was no significant DNA changes. If there's no significant DNA changes, then how do you get 50 identified mutations? Here it says another observation is that the ongoing outbreak has a single origin. This does not mean it came from a single person. All outbreak monkeypox strains sequenced so far tightly cluster together, the researchers say, suggesting that the outbreak has a single origin. So now here it says the study suggests that the current viruses descend from a branch associated with the spread of monkeypox from an endemic country, Nigeria, to the UK, Israel, and Singapore in 2018 and 2019. This might mean that the 2022 virus may also be traced back to this outbreak. Now, I want to know who exactly it came from. Because whoever that was from Nigeria coming to the UK, I'm curious as to who that was. Hail Paulo Gomez, head of the Genomics and Bioinformatics Unit at the National Institute of Health in Portugal, who co-authored the study, told Newsweek that all sequenced viruses within the 2022 outbreak are very similar to one another and considerably different from all other available genomes, also suggesting a single origin. Their analysis showed the virus currently circulating in its most closely associated with one involved in the monkeypox outbreaks in the UK, Israel, and Singapore in 2018 and 2019. This suggests that the 2018-2019 virus kept circulating somewhere, evolved, and was now again introduced in non-endemic countries. So again, that last article that we read, we're talking about how there's no significant DNA changes. And yet again, here we have an entire article about how the DNA changed. So now here it says one of the various hypotheses would be, for example, the travel of 2 or 3 infected people during April from an endemic country where this strain was circulating to non-endemic countries, i.e. a single origin but multiple instructions, he said. Pam Valley, professor of medical virology at the UK's University of Manchester, who was not involved with the study, echoed the point. The most likely explanation is that it was evolving to become more efficient at spreading from human to human in Nigeria. Then it has been transported into Europe, probably by several individuals, she told Newsweek. So now here it says however, it's not a conclusive theory. The researcher said it's also possible that there has been a long period of silent transmission between humans or animals in non-endemic countries for some time, though this may be unlikely given the known symptoms. Another theory is that monkeypox has been spreading amongst animal hosts in non-endemic countries for some time, and that a spillover event has transferred it to humans. Now, that's interesting because that's the first time we've come across that term, a spillover event. So my question for you guys is, if you think about that word, what do you guys think they're talking about when they mention a spillover event? What's that? What is a spillover event? Knowing the origin of the outbreak is important because it informs if we are dealing with a single outbreak or multiple simultaneous outbreaks. Jason Mercer, professor of virus cell biology at the University of Birmingham, who was not involved with the study, told Newsweek. It also gives scientists a 0 point from which to track virus evolution over time and the means to compare features of this outbreak, disease severity, routes of transmission, incubation period, with previous outbreaks. Based on the number of mutations, it's not possible that the 2022 virus collected all of these during infection of a single host. Pox viruses normally mutate at a rate of 1 to 2 mutations per year, suggesting that this virus has been circulating between people or animals, collecting these mutations as it goes. So again, this shows evidence that it might have been circulating for a while before it got all of this media attention. If you guys agree with Carlton, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you disagree, give me a thumbs down. So now here it says Jeremy Camille, associate professor of microbiology and immunology at Louisiana State University Health Shreveport, who was also not involved in the research, praised the work, but said it does not account for all cases. I will note that data suggests there are 2 lineages in circulation, he told Newsweek. If so, that is consistent with a single introduction. All said, this work from the team from Portugal is very impressive, and I don't doubt their claim that the majority of cases are indeed from a single introduction. I'm just not sure that all the cases are. So there's that. All right. So we have some very contradicting information there. We got some very contradicting information there. So take a wild guess what the CDC is doing. You already know what the CDC is doing because we see them do it all the time. CDC eyes monkeypox vaccine for kids as outbreak spreads. Would you guys get your kids monkeypox vaccinated? If you would, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you won't, give me a thumbs down. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 9 people watching. Shouts out to all 9 people who are watching. And we have 10 likes. If everybody smashes that like button, we will have 19 likes. So please help your boy out. Smash that like button. So now here it says U.S. health officials are looking to expand the use of the monkeypox vaccine for children. Man, didn't they just do that with a different virus? What's up with them really wanting these children to get vaccinated? What's up with that? As the outbreak continues to spread across the U.S. and in countries around the world, with more than 3,300 reported cases globally, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is developing a protocol aimed at allowing the use of Bavarian Nordic's AS Giones vaccine in children, if needed, according to the documents prepared for a meeting of the agency advisors that took place this week. The vaccine is currently cleared for use in adults and is considered safer than emergent biosolutions ACAM 2000 smallpox vaccine, which can also be used against monkeypox. The current monkeypox outbreak has mainly been seen. Look, so here we go again. The current monkeypox outbreak has been seen among men who have sex with men, but concern about other populations is growing as infections increase in the United States and 44 other countries. Now, here's my question. Is the infection rate among non-men who don't have sex with men increasing? Because to me, that would be what you want to pay attention to until there's indicators that there's increase or decrease in other groups, which there clearly isn't, because if there were, then they would have wrote the article around that. Domestic spread is increasing, with almost half of infections acquired locally rather than linked to travel abroad, according to the CDC documents. Monkeypox is spread through intimate contact with someone that's contagious, such as touching infection sores, as well as sharing materials such as cloths or bed sheets. The Department of Health and Human Services said Wednesday it would expand monkeypox testing to 5 of the country's largest commercial labs in order to better monitor its spread, after experts warned the United States wasn't doing enough to examine how widespread the outbreak actually is. The department also said it's helping support hospitals that want to develop high-quality tests for monkeypox. The CDC says that there are currently 36,000 courses of Bavarian Nordic's Giones vaccine in the strategic national stockpile, and the agency expects approximately 500,000 courses to be delivered this year. The U.S. government could produce about 7.9 million courses from Bavarian if needed. Giones is administered in 2 shots, spaced 4 weeks apart. The CDC has already, look at this. The CDC has already sent vaccines to states with monkeypox cases, and New York City's health department said Thursday that it would offer inoculation to eligible people at a temporary clinic. Now, what do you think about this? What do you guys think about this? My question is, have they done any trials on the old smallpox vaccine that they're telling everybody can be used for this, and what's the effectiveness of it been? That's what I'm curious about. So now here it says the CDC documents also show the agency plans to conduct a study to see how much of the U.S. had a previous monkeypox infection by looking for antibodies. The agency will prioritize genomic sequencing, which would help understand if mutations were playing a role in this current outbreak. We're sequencing all specimens that we can get our hands on, Gregory Armstrong, director of the CDC Office of Advanced Molecular Detection within the National Center for Emerging and Zoonotic Diseases, said in an interview. Thus far, the CDC is getting specimens from public health, he said. All the evidence so far suggests that the virus is behaving as we anticipated, he said. It's much more stable than most viruses, and we don't anticipate that it's going to be mutating at the rate of COVID-19. Just the fact that it does mutate, though, is problematic. And the fact that he, the fact that it's mutating, again, I think that that's problematic because they have recommended using these smallpox vaccines, and we don't even know the efficiency of them, and we don't know how strong they are because remember, they've been sitting in the stockpile for so long. I don't know if they've been tested. If that makes sense, give me a thumbs up. If that doesn't make any sense, give me a thumbs down. So now next, what we have here is an article from the Daily Beast. All right. And this article from the Daily Beast, it's saying the same thing. It's saying the same thing. Look. Monkeypox virus may be exhibiting accelerated behavior. Wait a minute. What just happened? Oh, look at this. This is what happens. You got to get a subscription to the Daily Beast to unlock the article. I was going to read this to you guys. But that's okay, though. I think we get the hint. If you guys get the hint about the evolution, about the mutations that have been going on with the monkeypox virus, give me a thumbs up. You see that? When I be saying support the channel, man, I'm dead serious. The stuff they let me read, I bought. When it's time to shut you down, no, they shut you down when you're done with them free articles. You know what I'm saying? So now we're talking about some COVID crimes here. Vacations, luxury cars. The St. Louis area fraudster took millions in COVID relief. He got some relief. His ass definitely got some relief, didn't he? Federal prosecutors have charged more than a dozen people with lying to receive loans or grants since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, what I find funny and not so funny at the same time is that it seems like everybody knows a COVID-19 scammer. Seems like everybody knows one. I got to ask the question, why are there so many? One bought a Maserati. Look at this. That's just one single sentence. Like that was just one of the most profound things that they discovered in this investigation. One of them bought a Maserati. It must be nice. They can get to the emergency room real fast and get to their COVID tests in style. Others jetted off on vacation. You're supposed to keep your ass still during the COVID-19 pandemic. And these motherfuckers are taking to the friendly skies. I hope not being shipped to Rwanda. Another spent thousands at Neiman Marcus, Ulta Beauty, and Victoria's Secret. This was a simp spending this money here. This was a simp spending this money, sending gifts to people. You know what I'm saying? Sending gifts, sending 3 for $10 body spritz to some woman that he fantasizes over, I bet. And more are almost certainly coming. Prosecutors have dozens of open cases in the works. It's a huge problem, said Assistant U.S. Attorney Gwen Carroll, who's in charge of white-collar prosecution for the St. Louis office. Federal agents, she said, keep finding people trying to work the system. Pandemic-related fraud crime under the microscope this month when former St. Louis County Jail officer Tony Weaver was indicted over accusations that he filed 4 grant applications on behalf of a local business in exchange for splitting the proceeds, according to the documents. Law enforcement. What laws do they enforce? Shouts out to Katsy. Shouts out to AJ. What laws does law enforcement enforce? Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we've got 11 people watching and we got 11 likes. If everybody can smash that like button and get us to 22, that'd be dope. Federal officials said nearly 1,500 people have been charged nationwide with making fraudulent claims to receive pandemic aid. Last week, they estimated as much as 20%, tens of billions of dollars, may have been awarded to fraudsters through one small business administration loan program alone. We going about getting reparations the wrong way. I keep telling y'all this shit. I keep telling y'all we going about getting reparations the wrong way, damn it. These motherfuckers gave out tens of billions of dollars in one small business administration loan program. The wave of fraud started in March 2020 when Congress passed the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. Did you guys hear about this law? I didn't hear about this. How many people heard about the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act? Did anybody hear about that? If you guys heard about that, throw a thumbs up in the chat. If you didn't hear about that, give me a thumbs down. Is that a fancy name for the tax breaks? You guys know? As businesses across the country were forced to shut down to stop the virus's spread. I mean, doesn't seem like, you know, that's water under a bridge. Carol, a longtime fraud prosecutor, recalled sitting in a conference room at the FBI with fellow investigators reading the CARES Act. Oh, that's what it is. It's the CARES. Wait, yeah, that's the CARES Act. Okay. Reading the CARES Act distribution guidelines in May of 2020. The loans were designed to be distributed quickly with few stopgaps, a recipe for abuse, she said. Are these the same as the PPP loans? So now here it says it's almost like we were standing on the beach and seeing a tidal wave very far off in the distance, she said. In months to come, more than 142,000 borrowers in Mississippi would receive, look at this. In the months to come, more than 142,000 borrowers in Missouri would receive $4.6 billion as part of the Paycheck Protection Plan alone. Do you see this shit? Look at all this money they gave out. Shouts out to my man U-Law. What up with it? That's just in Missouri. That's just in Missouri, ladies and gentlemen. Trillions of dollars would be distributed through the CARES Act and subsequent coronavirus relief packages. As the money flooded in, so did the fraud accusations. Among those charged was Susan Hamp, a woman in her 70s from St. Louis County who had been convicted twice of defrauding others, including her own damn sister. Hamp pled guilty in April, filing for bolstered COVID-19 unemployment benefits in multiple states, even though she wasn't eligible. Then there was Robert Williams, who's 57, from St. Louis County, who had a series of previous stealing and fraud convictions, and he was sentenced in April to more than 10 years in prison for lying to receive $2.7 million in coronavirus aid. I mean, what the hell you need $2.7 million in coronavirus aid for? That's a little bit more than some damn aid. That's a little bit more than some damn aid. Shout out to my man Honda 666. What up with it, bro? That's a little bit more than some damn aid. Shit, that's a lifeline. That's a damn lifeline. It's more than some damn aid. Shit. Prosecutor said he misrepresented information on 30 applications for his own business and helped others file an additional 23. And on Friday, a St. Louis woman, Portia L. Thomas, 31, pleaded guilty to lying on her applications to receive $291,600 in payroll protection loans for her 15-person company, Couture Trading Incorporation, out of Beverly Hills, California, according to court records. She spent the money on living expenses, personal purchases, and a 2018 Audi S5 Sportback Quattro. All right. They just went on and Black Lives Mattered all this money. How many of these folks are white? I don't know, but I can tell you one that's not. Portia L. Thomas. I can tell you Portia L. Thomas is not white. Now, the other ones, I don't know. Let me see. What's the names? Yeah, I don't know. Susan Hamp. She sounds like she might be white. Robert Williams could be anybody. That motherfucker's a John Doe. Portia. Sorry, boo-boo. Sorry, boo-boo. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit. Portia was trying to get that Monty Hunty. You know what I'm saying? And now she in the county on a bounty. The fraud was not limited to business aid. Carroll said investigators have also opened up inquiries in the region, Missouri's Eastern District, for people hoping to take advantage of the housing assistance. In one case, Simaj Portis, 43 of St. Louis County, admitted to be pretending to be a landlord using fraudulent leases when she applied for rental help 52 times in a 10-month period. Damn. She must have been paying weekly rent because it's 52 weeks in a damn year. Them motherfuckers was charging your ass weekly rent. They had motherfuckers out here on a prepaid rent program. You gotta go get your Insta loan and then go pay the rent. Whew, can't say I've never been in that situation before. I know what it's like to get them payday loans. Getting them weekly payday loans 52 times a year. That's like 40% interest on that ass. I hope she paid this shit off before the inflation hit. Oh, that's a fact. We gave you blacks reparations via PPP loans. Even Obama agrees with me on that. Some weekend with Bernie, Mitch McConnell would say. Carroll said investigators also have opened up inquiries into the region, Missouri's Eastern District, for people hoping to take advantage of the housing assistance. So we already read that. The CARES Act and other pandemic aid programs created a lucrative opportunity for fraudsters, she said. Still, she said many businesses were saved because of the money. The problem isn't the money, she said. It's that people take advantage of the opportunities. Now, this is a question that I have for everybody. Do you guys see how much money that they were giving out during this time? If you guys see how much money they were giving away, give me a thumbs up. Now, here's the $1 million question that I want to ask everybody in the comments section. If a small state like Missouri was giving away this much money during the pandemic, more than likely Oregon was giving away as much or more. Now, my question for you guys is, if that's the case, why did the business owners in Oregon feel the need to sue the black business owners in Oregon and tie their COVID-19 money up in court? Your boy was about to read an article from the Dallas Morning News and got shut down. I got blocked like Shaq. Free articles are all up. Free articles are all up, y'all. So y'all gonna be getting some shorter streams until next month. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna be getting some shorter streams until next month. What do you guys think about that? New remote brain computer interface could be a game changer for paralyzed people. How many people would install a brain computer interface in their head? Is anybody in here interested in that? I hear that the installation is free and that the Geek Squad does it over at Best Buy. This is just what I heard, though. I don't know if it's true or not. I heard it comes with customer service, too, like a legacy warranty or something like that. And I heard that you can even pass it down, you know, to your children. They can remove it from your head and put it into your kids. No, I'm just playing. This is all funny. New remote brain computer interface could be a game changer for paralyzed people. Now, here's my question. How would they use this for paralyzed people? How could a brain-computer interface benefit paralyzed people? That's the question. In recent years, brain-computer interfaces have successfully enabled study participants who lost the use of their limbs to control a mouse cursor, keyboard, mobile device, wheelchair, or even a robotic arm that provides sensory feedback to the patient simply by using their own mind. Now, imagine if they could probably make a brain-computer interface that could perform telepathy. You guys think that that's possible? The BCI system involves implanting a microelectrode arrays in a patient's motor cortex, the area of the brain that naturally controls movement. BCI manufacturer BlackRock Neurotech and the University of Pittsburgh are working together to make studies more accessible to a greater population of candidates living with paralysis with the use of a compact remote BCI system that can be used at home. Now, in my opinion, this could evolve to something like Neuralink. This could evolve into something like Neuralink, but you see how it's being marketed as something for healthcare. So now here it says, researchers have made great strides towards eventually providing the more than 5 million people with paralysis in the U.S. more mobility and independence with the development of an experimental device called a brain-computer interface, okay? In recent years, brain-computer interfaces have successfully enabled dozens of study participants who lost the use of their limbs after strokes, accidents, or diseases such as multiple sclerosis to control a mouse cursor, keyboard, mobile device, wheelchair, and even robotic arm that provides sensory feedback to the patient simply by using their own mind. The technology could be a game changer to help those with paralysis return to work and communicate more quickly and effectively. The BCI system involves implanting a microelectrode arrays in a patient's motor cortex, the area of the brain that naturally controls movement. Patients are then asked to imagine moving their own arm or hand, and the sensors in the motor cortex pick up those signals from the brain and transmit them as commands to external devices such as computer cursors or wheelchairs. So that means that this thing can decode the electric signals that make up your thoughts. This thing seems to have the capabilities where it can decode your thoughts and respond to them. I don't know how comfortable I am with a machine reading my thoughts. I don't know how comfortable I am with that. When trials of the technology have been ongoing for years, participation has been limited due to logistics and geography, as paralysis volunteers in the study are required to travel to lab facilities on a regular basis. But now BCI manufacturer BlackRock Neurotech and the University of Pittsburgh are working together to make the studies more accessible to a greater population of candidates living with paralysis under the use of a compact remote BCI system that can be used at home. Researchers will be able to test a broader range of study participants and collect more safety and efficacy data, a key step on the path of commercializing the technology. It's essentially a new version of the entire BCI system that is designed for in-house use. Florian Solsbacher, co-founder and chairman of BlackRock Neurotech, a company that manufactures a suite of BCI technology, said in an interview. Now, I have a question. If this thing can decode signals in your brain, decode them as thoughts, and repeat them as commands, what's to say that it's not going to send that information somewhere that it's not supposed to? What's to say that they don't data mine your brain? Could you imagine getting your brain data mined? This is what I want you guys to do. Describe to me the experience and how your life would change if companies and corporations had access to your brain to data mine your thoughts. And let me know if you guys are comfortable with that. Is everybody in here comfortable with Google and Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and all these different people having access to your thoughts, direct and raw, uncontested access to your brain? How do you feel about that? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 10 people watching and there's 13 likes. If you haven't smashed that like button, please smash that like button and help get us to 23. So now here it says this was usually set up so all the studies and trials could only be done in the hospital or in a clinical research setting, and so that required participants to travel to the lab several times a week to work there. This creates a far more realistic setting, he said. Soulsbatcher said the device looks somewhat like an iPad with a small box the size of a cell phone that's attached to a type of medical brace. The device can easily attach to a wheelchair and is lightweight. The software used during research trials has also been modified to be operated with little technical support. In the lab, experiments typically required rack-mounted data acquisition systems and roughly 5 computers to carry out the research. He said the at-home BCI can allow users to write their own emails or text messages and work on a computer. Being able to run things at home with a portable at-home system, participants can start or maybe a caretaker with no more knowledge than the layperson can start. It's a big step, Soulsbatcher said. Researchers from the University of Pittsburgh's Rehabilitation and Neural Engineering Laboratory in 2020 demonstrated that a study participant could use a portable version of the BCI system at home to move a mouse cursor, play computer games, and type out sentences. Could you imagine if artificial intelligence was what was data mining your thoughts? Let's not even think about like Google. What about some artificial intelligence entity? Shouts out to Carla. What up with it, Carla? Albie Black said he'll purchase one of the Magneto helmets. Yeah, I give me a Juggernaut helmet. You know what I'm saying? Stay the hell out of my head. Shit. Pitt has been a leader in BCI research, successfully enabling a paralyzed man to operate a robotic arm and hand that provides tactile feedback directly to the man's brain. Researchers say the new agreement with BlackRock Neurotech will lay the groundwork to scale up key trials. One of the current things we hear from participants is that they really want a device that they can have at home that will actually benefit them in their daily life, Jennifer Collinger, researcher with the University of Pittsburgh, RNL, said. The trials that we have been running at the University of Pittsburgh and all of the other sites that are doing similar research right now, they're essentially temporary studies where almost all of the experiments are happening in the lab, or at least there's lab personnel supervising the system. What they really want to see is something they can use independently all the time. BlackRock Neurotech late last year was granted breakthrough device designation from the Food and Drug Administration for its Move Again BCI system, which is similar to the device it plans to use in trials and hopes to be its first commercial BCI platform in 2023. So that would be interesting. I'm pretty sure I'm not interested in this thing, though. I'll be interested to see what it does to somebody else, but I don't want to use this. I don't trust this kind of technology. I think that this borders on being unethical. This borders on being a little bit too invasive for my taste. And I do agree with Mimi Pay attention to how they're veiling it as something helpful. But also notice how this isn't how Neuralink is marketing theirs. And that's something that everybody should think about. There's a reason why Neuralink isn't marketing theirs this way. And my question for you guys is, why do you think that may be? Why do you guys think that may be, that Neuralink isn't marketing theirs like that? There's got to be a reason. Shouts out to Val. What up with it, Val? So now I looked at this article and I thought that this was interesting. Data show persistent racial ethnic disparities in U.S. life expectancy prior to COVID-19. Now, before we get started on this, what do you guys think that this is going to say? Data show persistent racial ethnic disparities in U.S. life expectancy prior to COVID-19. Now, what is this going to say? This may say something interesting. Researchers, policymakers, and thought leaders can all benefit from this study if we use the data to inform our actions, and this begins with active community engagement. So now here it says, although racial disparities in life expectancy have been studied extensively at the national level, less research is available detailing the differences at the county level. Now, do you guys think that at the county level, these differences look about the same as the national? What do you guys think? A new study published in The Lancet outlines changes. See that? Changes in life expectancy from 2000 to 2019. Now, what I want to know is, what do you guys think that those changes look like? Carlton Way says it'll probably say something about us. Now, here's my question. What will it say about us? I want you guys to give me your best guesses. What do you guys think this is going to say? Data showed an overall gain in average years lived, but growth rates and average longevity differed based on race and ethnicity. Different rates of chronic disease, exposure to pollution, education, and income level can all be associated with life expectancy gains or losses. The COVID-19 pandemic also had dramatic impacts on Americans' longevity. Data from 2020 showed an average drop of 2.27 years among U.S. men and 1.61 years among U.S. women compared to with prior years. Globally, these excess years of lives lost were more than 5 times that lost to the 2015 seasonal flu. In an effort to illustrate how life expectancy has shifted over a larger time frame from 2000 to 2019, researchers at the University of Washington School of Medicine examined trends at the county level using information from the U.S. National Vital Statistics System and the National Center for Health Statistics. Data showed an overall increase of 2.3 years during the 2 decades studied, but further analysis revealed distinct racial, ethnic, and geographic disparities in longevity. Now, here's my question. What do you think the disparities are, and why do you think they are? That's what I want to know. What do you think the disparities are going to be, and why do you think that they're going to be there? because the why and what do we think they're going to be, we figure that out. That's how we start figuring out the starting place of how to deal with some of this nonsense. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 14 people watching. Shouts out to all 14 people watching. And we got 13 likes. If everybody can bang on that like button, that'll get us to 27. And that would be awesome. So help your boy get to 27. Looking at over 3,000 counties, investigators did see an average increase of 3.9 years among Black individuals. Among Black individuals. Shit. My bad, y'all. And an additional increase of 2.9 years among Asian or Pacific Islanders, 2.7 years among Latinos, and 1.7 years among white individuals. Rates remain the same for some American Indian or Alaskan Native populations, and differences in years lived grew when compared with white individuals. So here's my question. Isn't it interesting that the very people that came to this country that really couldn't sustain themselves, somehow now they're outliving everybody? How does that happen? Does that make any sense? It makes sense if you set up a system where you have first access to all of the resources, and everybody else is just fighting for resources. In contrast, the gap between white and Black life expectancy decreased over the period studied, and in some cases, Black life expectancy surpassed that of white individuals. So this is what I'm telling you guys. Even though they have a system of white supremacy set up, I mean, when you look down at the bare basics, it shows the reason why they have the system of white supremacy set up. It's their affirmative action program. It makes them be able to be competitive with us. I mean, we got all the odds going against us, and we still outliving them. So take that into consideration. The study marks the first county-wide time series analysis of life expectancy at the county level to include estimates for AIAN and API populations, and the first at the county level to incorporate corrections for misreporting of racial and ethnic identity on death certificates, authors wrote. So that's interesting. Corrections for misreporting of racial and ethnic identity on death certificates. What's that all about? What's that all about? They stress the findings offer an opportunity to tailor interventions for vulnerable communities. So now my question is, who are they considering a vulnerable community? Who are they considering a vulnerable community? Researchers and policymakers and thought leaders can all benefit from this study if we use the data to inform our actions, and this begins with active community engagement, said study author George Mensah in a press release. Most gains observed at the community level also occurred before 2010, researchers said, with nearly 60% of countries reporting decreases between 2010 and 2019. Increases in life expectancy were seen in the majority of counties, while those gains rose more than any other racial group. So our life expectancies increased with more of a large increase than others. So what do you guys think about that? You weren't expecting that, were you? Wasn't nobody expecting that, were you? That's a pleasant surprise. Remember I told you guys about expectation versus pleasant surprise? That's a pleasant surprise. Despite this trend, Black Americans consistently have a lower life expectancy than white Americans overall, measured at 75.3 years on average in 2019 compared with 78.9 years. In 2019, AIAN populations had the lowest life expectancy compared with other racial and ethnic groups at 73.1 years on average. And life expectancies ranged from 59 to over 93 years. In some counties, a decrease in life expectancies among white individuals was also recorded, attenuating the modest overall increase. These findings underscore the pressing need for local-level detailed data to support efforts to address and eliminate racial and ethnic health disparities and provide opportunities to better understand the root causes of these disparities, authors wrote, which is funny because they know the reasons for the disparities. Let me ask you guys a question. What's the reason for these disparities? What's the reason for these disparities? More research is warranted to better understand whether the gains observed were erased or diminished as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. So they got to make sure that we're not outliving them because we get an unfair advantage from COVID. Oh, shit. The pandemic exposed stressors and weakness in local and national systems that continuously put our most vulnerable populations at risk, study author Laura Dwighter Lindgren said in a statement. So what do you guys think about that? Still, we have a lower average life expectancy, but it shows that in some counties, there's a higher average length of life. So this is what I'm telling you. This is why it's important to pay attention to these statistics. This is why it's important to develop a think tank. This is why it's important to look at all of this data and look at all of these articles, because as you can see, the same numbers, when asked the same questions, depending on where those numbers come from, those numbers can paint very different pictures. That's why when Tucker Carlson the other day said the median, I said, make sure you guys pay attention to what he said. He said median. He didn't say mean. He didn't say average. He said the median. That's why it's so important, if you're going to talk statistics, for people to understand exactly what those statistics are, so that people will understand exactly what they mean. Because they mean something. Those statistics mean something. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, players and pimps, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you already know what to do. Make sure you hit that bell icon twice. Smash the like button. Share this video out to all of your followers. Make sure you hit up the backup channels, and I will catch you all on the next video. All right? Peace.